Hey, how's it going, runner? Coach Kyle here, and today you're going to learn about a hack, I suppose, that can lead to some big gains and improvements in your running. So, have you ever thought about doing double days? Days where you run twice in a day. Have you done them? Have you thought about doing them? Maybe you thought maybe you weren't doing enough mileage or you weren't good enough for you because there's something typically elite runners do. So let's go over what they are, why they're beneficial, and most importantly, should you do them or not? So first off, right off the bat, what are double day runs and who should do them? So running twice during the day is both one of the most beneficial things a runner can do for their fitness, but also one of the most difficult training tools to implement due to primarily the time commitment and availability needed to run a second time in the day. Now, not only does it require a second 45 minute jog, but there's the prep before, the shower afterwards, etc. So it's a big commitment, not just in the time that you're running. Generally, double days refer to the practice of going, like I said, for that second, typically 30-60 minute easy jog, 3 hours or later after typically a morning quality session. There was a really cool video from the training of Mo Farah, who runs about 120, 130 miles during a typical week. And other than the single long run day of 20, 26, 27 miles, he's doing double days every day. He does a long run, two kind of big workouts, track, tempo type workouts, and then a bunch of easy double days. And for him, his easy pace is about 6 minutes per mile, but that's about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, depending on the range, slower than his 5K pace. So it's an easy run for him, and that's most of his running. So the opinions on who can or should do double days vary quite a bit. Malmo of Let's Run, who was the American 3K steeplechase record holder for a while, says that you can benefit from double days even if you're running just 30 miles a week. And other coaches suggest it's not worth it until you get to 60 or even 75 miles a week. Now, my coach, who coaches elite runners, Olympic qualifiers in the marathon, and the US indoor high school mile record holder, has me doing double days in the high 50, low 60 mile per week range. And it's just 15 to 30 minute jogs later in the day. And I think, as you'll learn, anyone can just about benefit from adding in 1 to 3 double days during the week, regardless of their fitness abilities, their miles per week. So what are the benefits of double days? And there are a number of reasons to perform 2 workouts in a single day. Before we get into the detailed science of it, the basics are that the practice lets you run more miles more comfortably, and the physiological benefits are numerous. Just know that double days, they make you a better, stronger runner. So into kind of more of the details, the science behind it. Muscle glycogen is a storage form of carbohydrate, a key running fuel source. It's stored with water in your muscles and used during exercise at non-maximal efforts. When your brain senses that your onboard storage carb stores are low, they're near depletion, you may hit the wall or bonk. And this is a protective mechanism of the brain to shut you down before you actually run out of fuel. So when you hit the wall during a marathon or whatever, you're not actually out of glycogen, you're just really low. And exercising when your muscle glycogen is low, just in normal training, can result in high transcriptional activation of different genes compared to when muscle glycogen concentration is high or normal. And the theory behind it is that the role of the glycogen in this case could be that several transcriptional factors, including different glycogen binding domains. So when the muscle glycogen is low, these factors are released and become free to associate with other targeting proteins. Basically, they can do other beneficial things because there's no muscle glycogen. Or it's low. So studies looking at training once versus twice in a day have found that time to exhaustion, resting muscle glycogen concentration, and citrate synthase activity are all enhanced, among other things. So citrate synthase is a big deal. It's the first enzyme in the Krebs cycle, which is a series of chemical reactions that release energy that all of us had to memorize in exercise physiology class. And during the second run for the day, in a glycogen depleted state, it might be a really good way to actually enhance muscle glycogen storage ability, because you're training in a low glycogen state and your body might just become actually better at storing glycogen due to that. Another benefit of the double run day is that, and this is more tangible, is that many runners find it easier to actually increase their mileage over a week or a month versus running singles. You might simply find it easier to run, for example, 8 or 9 runs of 6 or 7 average miles rather than 6 runs of 10 miles per run average. And as we know, running more volume and more frequently is simply one of the best things you can do to improve your running ability and fitness. So Joe Friel, who's a really well-known, primarily cycling triathlon coach, in his Cyclist Training Bible says that sleeping and working out have a synergetic effect on fitness. Each can cause the release of a growth hormone from the pituitary gland. And growth hormone speeds recovery, it rebuilds muscle, it improves recovery, and it breaks down body fat. And by training twice in a day, and bonus if you want to take a nap, the dedicated rider or runner gets hit with 4 hits of growth hormone release during the day. And this makes you stronger, it makes you more fit. This is a natural way to get growth hormone. And legendary running coach Pete Fitzinger said that he's kind of changed his mind on doubles. He now suggests that he believes that for older runners, and this is a quote, for older runners or those with a history of injury, double runs can be a beneficial way to increase your mileage, your volume, relatively with less injury risk versus single runs. Doubles can help you improve your stride rate, your running technique, because you'll be relatively fresh during your runs and less likely to get stuck in that what he calls the marathoner's shuffle. He now recommends double days for runners over 40 years old, preparing for races from the 5K all the way to the marathon, any time of the day except their long run day. You don't want to sacrifice that important long run just to get a double day in. But getting double days in on the other days can be really beneficial for basically any runner of any fitness ability. So how do we do double days? We know that they're beneficial. How do we actually do them? Anyone can benefit from these double days. Like I said, even runners who are running a mere 30 miles per week. Just because it's more typical for elite runners does not mean the average runner can't benefit from it. The most simple method would be to simply do a second training session 2 hours or later after that morning or afternoon run. You could do a morning run and go for lunch or dinner, or you could do a lunch run and go for dinner and just do an easy half hour. For myself, I tend to say to save the doubles for the hard days. I'm a big believer in keeping hard days hard and easy days easy. Thus, I try to limit leg strengthening exercise and excess mileage on the easy days. So typically I'll do 15 to 30 minutes, very, very easy, 2 to 3 times a week, later in the afternoon or the evening of a day that I did a hard or long run that morning. And if your mileage is at a level where you should likely not be adding more miles, maybe you're kind of at that upper tolerable limit for how much mileage you can handle, or maybe it's due to time availability. It could be another option to do some other sort of non-cardio training, such as cycling, walking, hiking, an elliptical. Maybe you can get that morning run in, but you can't always get away from the house in the evening due to child care or something. But you might have an elliptical or a stationary bike at home, so that might be an option for you. Remember what I said earlier about part of the benefit being training in a low glycogen concentration state. So it doesn't have to be running. It could be a half hour on a stationary bike. And another hack would be to not actually do 2 runs in a day, but do 1 run late in the evening and then the next run early in the morning. So if you perform a hard or long run in the evening, you let the sun go down, you let the temp cool off a bit. Let's say you start around 8 p.m., you finish around 9 p.m. or so. And then you go out the next morning, again, when it's cool out, before the sun comes up or shortly after, at like 6 a.m., your glycogen stores are still a little low. They're not topped off. And because it's only, 10 plus or minus a few hours away from that previous night's run, if it was a hard or a long run, your muscles might still be a little fatigued. So you might still get that benefit, even though it's not 2 or 3 hours apart or on the same day. And I kind of like to do this sometimes to really separate my runs. I might do an evening run, a real early morning run, and then I'll have a full 24 hours before my next Friday workout or something. And that gives me just more, that full 24-hour recovery between that last run and the next big workout or long run. So there we have it. I hope I kind of gave you some ideas, something to think about double days. And if you can manage, throw in 1 to 3, even 15, 30, maybe 60-minute easy jog, a hike, an elliptical. The most important thing is that it does not have to be, like I said, it does not have to be that second run. Go for a walk at sunset, for example. Take your dog out, go with your family out for a little walk or a hike. It's probably benefiting you physically, but there's a real nice thing about going for a sunset hike as well, or just a walk around the neighborhood. It's just nice to do. And in my case, even as a coach, I've known about the benefit of double days forever, but I've rarely done them. The activation energy is high. It's hard to do that morning run and go out for that second one, even though even as a coach, I know it's beneficial. But I'm doing them now, and I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't have a coach for myself. I'm investing money, they're investing time and expecting me to do these double days, and I'm doing it. And as I see it, you have 2 choices. You can decide to remain where you're at, or you can decide to improve further. And on one hand, you can choose to not invest in working with me as your coach. If you walk down that path, you'll continue to go at it alone, trying to piece together tips, tricks, and hacks. Maybe have some success, but also likely struggle on your own a little bit. Running that first marathon, that personal best, is tough cookies. And you're risking being in the same position you are now 3 months from now if you keep doing it on your own like you've been. If you want to stay on that path, it's your choice. If you're good to go, you're good to go. But on the other hand, we have one where we're simply working together you have me as a guide, helping you simplify and explain and guide you along the path of improving your fitness. We integrate meditation, mindfulness, and of course, miles and maybe extra days. And we've got that accountability and motivation so you feel great about what you're doing and your progress. So you can make the choice. It's up to you, but don't come to me 3 months from now wishing you would have hit that contact button, emailed me now. So if you're thinking about it at all, just get a hold of me. Reply back here, email me, and let's get started. I promise it'll be worth it, and it's fun to kind of just change something, try something new, feel that big boost in motivation, and get tangible accountability. And the benefits are real, and it's fun. So I hope to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Comments, questions, always welcome. And as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.